let's do some prenatal seated kneeling positions that feel really good. And I'll show you a couple modifications too if you are farther along in your pregnancy. I'm about 16 weeks, so I don't have a big belly yet, but I will let you know different things you can do at different stages that might make you feel better. So let's start in a child's pose, which is a personal favorite. So normally in child's pose, we take our big toes to touch towards the back of the mat and take our knees out wide. Let's make sure they're nice and wide. A lot of times people do child's pose knees together, but we need to make room for baby in prenatal yoga. So let's just take them nice and wide, about mat's distance apart or wider. Inhale, finding some length. And then exhale, crawling forward, bringing the forearms to the mat and taking the head to the earth, the third eye, the forehead, space between the brows. Maybe rocking that forehead back and forth, leaning a little more into this, letting it go on the exhale. And breathing in your child's pose, just relaxing. And if this is too much, if it feels too tight, like if you feel like you're kind of up like this and you're just like, ugh, this doesn't feel good, use your props. They're your best friend. You could take a block down by your seat and play with that for a little support. And it feels nice. Or you can kind of fold up your blanket and take it here to give you a little more support if your butt's not really coming down to your heels. That's kind of nice too. Good. Or if you wanted to, just bring the ground closer however you can. If it feels good to just have your ankles or your feet up a little higher, you could do that too. So however you get into your child's pose, just really release. This is a really amazing grounding pose. A lot of the times when we're pregnant, we can be in our heads a lot and thinking, overthinking everything. Hopefully everything's okay. Everything. Or thinking about all the amazing things. You're just up there in your mind. So it's really important to balance that out. In child's pose, great name for it, to connect with baby. And let's just get grounded. So you're really just letting the body connect to the earth as you breathe in through the belly, in the nose and out through the nose. And if it feels good, you can bring the ground closer to you this way too. Taking a block to the forehead. If your belly feels like, I don't want to go down that far, you do both, block in between or under the butt and under the forehead. Do whatever makes you feel comfortable. All right, from child's pose, I like moving right into puppy. So we can come up on our knees. Your knees will be underneath your hips. And keeping that kind of in line, then walk forward. So I'm going to back up a bit. So keeping that in line, walking your hands forward, and then kind of like child's pose, but instead of sending our hips all the way back, trying to keep them more upright, and then we're sending our chest down. So it's an amazing chest opener. Letting the forehead drop to the mat. And this can be really, really tight, so just play with how it feels. If you feel like you want more of an active puppy, you can curl your toes and kind of have more height and support that way. And that way you can kind of lean a little more forward too with your hips above your knees. Breathing through this. I kind of like moving a little bit at first just to get that really tight chest open a little more. Again, if you need the ground to be a little closer to you, might feel good to take a block under the forehead. Or if you're doing it a little more passively with your feet down, not curled, you could take a blanket like we did with Child's, put it under your feet, coming back, and then walking the hands out. So you have room for belly and baby because you're not crunching up, you're coming out farther. Mm. Breathing, trying to find a little stillness if you can. Feeling that chest opening. Good. And then when you're ready, inhale, walking the fingertips back up and sitting on your heels. Holding baby, taking a big breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Letting those shoulders drop down the back. Slowly open your eyes if you close them. Remove your props. Good. Now let's do some hip circles. So maybe you throw in a little cat-cow here as well. So you could do a little inhale and exhale, rounding and curling. And then for hip circles, let's just take our hips over to the left, up front, over to the right, and to the back. So really grounding down through our fingers, our knuckles for support. Oh, and then just really letting go of what you look like, what you should be doing, and just listen to your hips. Go with the flow. We kind of associate hips with the water element. So just think about just relaxing into it and going with the flow with this motion. Go a few in one direction, inhaling as you shift forward and exhaling as you shift back. And then go the other direction, getting out all of that air in the joints. Sometimes makes me feel like a tin man, and then I feel a lot less like a tin man after. There's a lot of snap, crackle, and pops in my hips. Feels really good. We want to take care of our hips a lot and find that mix between strength and opening to prepare ourselves for labor. So it's a really good stretch to do. Good. And when you're ready, you can come back to tabletop. Sit on your heels. So child's pose, puppy to hip circles are great on the mat poses you can do for prenatal yoga. Thank you.